Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. We are Millennial Mom. If you don't know who is who, I'm Millennial. This is Mom.
Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, I'm Mom or Kay from Millennial and Mom. Millennial will be back for the season finale of Love After Lockup next week. But today is Love After Lockup season 4 episode 21, You Got Served. So before I begin, don't forget to like, subscribe, and don't forget about the membership. Information will be in the description box below. So let's start out with Amber. Amber's at home and she's not feeling good. It's the morning, Queen's in the kitchen and making breakfast, and Amber's just like, ugh, I just feel like I just don't know what's going on with me. You know, I was out partying, but I wasn't drinking. I just didn't feel right. And so Queen is like, so do you think you could be pregnant? Amber's like, no, I can't be pregnant. What you mean? Like, I'm 37 years old and, you know, I've had miscarriage and different things going on in my life. I can't be pregnant. Queen's like, are you sure? Because if you were having sex without using protection, I mean, girl, you could be pregnant. Amber says, I just went to the doctor the other day to find out, you know, about my health and what's going on. She said, I learned about my liver enzymes being high and stuff like that. So, you know, they didn't say nothing. So I don't think I could be pregnant. Now, last week, when Puppy called to tell her that she was pregnant, and not that she was pregnant, but when she had a miscarriage, I was thinking, you know what? Probably the next person to get pregnant would be Amber, because see, Amber a couple weeks ago was talking about how, you know, her and TC were, you know, having sex, but they weren't using protection, and she got pregnant. It just is what it is, right? But then last week with all that confrontation, when Amber came home from seeing Puppy, even before, TC was like, look, he don't want no more drama, and, you know, this is not the right time in his life right now. He's 40, he has these two, you know, teenage sons, and he's not, you know, trying to go back down that road. And Amber was saying, yeah, I know. Yeah, me neither. But see, that's not what you were saying the week before, Amber. So now that Amber is questioning whether she's pregnant or not, Queen says, well, go take some pregnancy tests. There's 4 of them in the bathroom. I'm thinking, why do you have like pregnancy tests in there? Maybe she's had pregnancy scares before. I don't know. So Amber goes, you know what? I'm going to take 3 of them. But girl, when they come out negative, you owe me $5. So Amber goes in there, takes those tests, and next thing you know, she's like, dang. Looks at the test, calls in Queen. Guess what? She's pregnant. But who's that a surprise to? Us or Amber? Because I personally am not surprised. So then Queen says, so what do you think TC's going to say? She's like, I don't even know. Amber, you know, because he just told you, like I mentioned, he's not trying to have no more kids. Even though they were not using any protection and she weren't on no birth control, Amber is stressed about the next steps because, again, she has her liver enzymes up. You know, she's had previously health issues where she was told she couldn't have kids in the future. But you know what? Doctors don't know everything. So Queen is like, you know what? You just need to go find out more. You need to go to the doctor, you know, to find out what's really going on. Next, we see Amber at the doctor's office where the doctor tells her, girl, you are 6 weeks and 2 days. He gives her the ultrasound of the baby and stuff like that. So when he goes in to ask her about the history, that's when she's talking about, I just learned about my liver enzymes being high and just, you know, the history of her not having good, you know, health conditions going on, and she's concerned. And so Amber asked the question, well, could it be life-threatening? He said it could potentially be life-threatening. And so with that news, makes Amber even more nervous and scared, because you never know, it could come down to like the baby's life or hers. So she gets outside, she calls her mom and tells her mom that the pregnancy could be fatal. So I don't know if Amber continues on with this pregnancy or tells TC about it. Maybe we'll find out in the finale. Next up is Chaz and Branwen. Now, Chaz says that he hasn't heard from Branwen in a while, and he's happy that she called him. So when we see Branwen, she's at a cafe. She's like, meet me at the bridge. And apparently this is the bridge where her and Chaz got married when she got out of prison. And is it just me, or did Branwen lose a bunch of weight? So as she's walking down to the bridge from the cafe, she's got on these hot, oh my goodness, she got on these stiletto shoes. I'm like, how's she walking in them shoes? But then again, I had to think about it. I'm like, well, maybe she's got a little bit of experience walking those type of shoes, but I'm not here to judge. So she gets to the bridge. Chaz pulls up as well, and he has this tone about him. This is a tone I've never heard him with before. He's like, so hey, how you doing? She's like, Chaz, what is it that you want? You've been calling me. I just don't understand why you keep bothering me. He's like, no, I'm not trying to do that. He goes, I caught you with an ad for Tani. You know, it's not really Tani, it's you, because it's your pictures on that. She's like, Chaz, I told you that she can't be on the site, and I'm doing it for her, and just making up all these things as to why it's for her friend. Chaz is no longer buying this, right? He's like, no, it's you. She's like, well, what is it you want from me? You know, I thought, you know, things would be different. And Chaz is hoping, like, you know, she would apologize, say sorry. I think Chaz is trying to get Branwen to be like, oh, you know, I didn't really do this for Tani. I was really doing it for me, and apologize. And I think Chaz would have took her back if she would have been like, oh, sorry, you know, can we start over? Because Chaz, he's just so into Branwen. He wants Chaz to be the person that he was when they first met, like in prison. Like, you know, he used to talk about her about politics and just different things going on in the world. But all he does now is tell her that she's beautiful, and she wants more than that. And on top of that, Branwen says that she's also seen girls move to other states and do better and get their lives on track, and that's what she wanted for herself. But she's not getting this from Chaz. And at the same time, I think Branwen, you know, you called him a soft little butterfly, you know, after you were intimate the first time. Like, you want someone, you know, I think still for the streets, to be totally honest. And Chaz just isn't that guy. So then Chaz says to her, well, you know what? I thought we could do things different. And hands her a manila folder. And in that folder is divorce papers. And Branwen was like, oh, okay, if that's what you want. And Chaz was like, yep. So Chaz walks away. And Chaz tells us, you know what? Since he's met Branwen, or just been in this particular situation, that he smokes a pack to a pack and a half a day of cigarettes, because clearly he's stressed. And then the funny part is his phone rings, and then it's his mom on the phone. She's like, hey. She was like, hey, like, kind of like, it's not a good time. She goes, well, I know Branwen's birthday is coming up, and I want to send her a birthday card. Chaz was like, no, you don't need to send her a card, because you know what? She's not a good girl. She don't need one. And his mom was like, oh, okay. And that was it. So next up, Brittany and Ray. So today the families are finally going to meet before they get married. So on the way to the restaurant, Brittany says, you know what? If things don't go right, they just go ahead and get married at the courthouse. Ray said, I've been trying to say that the whole time, right? So then they get to the restaurant, and Ray's dad and his stepmom is there. Now, Ray is his dad's twin, I tell you. But Ray's dad, fashion-wise, is still stuck in a particular decade. But that's okay. He seemed like a really nice guy. So they walk in, and they're happy to see each other. And Ray's stepmom, Demetra, is like, so, you know, what's going on? You know, where's your family at? She's like, oh, they're not. Brittany says they're not here yet. So Brittany excuses herself to find out where they are and maybe make a phone call. And then Demetra is saying, so, you know, asking Ray, like, have things improved? Like, you know, have you got the blessing? Ray said, not yet. And then Demetra says, you know what? You can't live for the parents. You got to live for you. And then she also says in confessional that, you know, just because Ray was in prison doesn't necessarily make him a bad guy, and just hopes that her family could see that. And so then finally, Brittany's family makes it a restaurant. They come in, they apologize for the traffic and things like that. And the families, you know, they don't really say anything right now. It's a little bit too awkward. And then the waitress comes over, pours them some champagne. Ray's dad makes a toast and says really nice things about Brittany and Ray. I thought that was very nice. And then Brittany's dad asked to talk to Ray outside. So as they're going outside, Brittany asked her mom, like, did you know what dad's going to say? Do you know it's coming? And Brittany's mom's like, shoot, even this is a surprise for me. So outside, Brittany's dad tells Ray that, you know, he doesn't want to feel pressured given the blessing. And Ray's like, you know, I understand, but, you know, we really want to get married. I really love your daughter. We've been together 2 years. And, you know, when we were talking before I got out of prison, that we talked about much more than just like regular chit chat. I mean, we talked in depth, got to know each other, and we really want to be each other. You know, I got out and we're trying to make a home and a family. But Brittany's dad said, yeah, I've known of you for 2 years, but I really known about you for 1 year. And Race was like, well, I understand that, but you know, I'm not trying to do anything to harm your daughter. I'm not trying to do nothing but love her and be there for her. You know, we make a family. But Brittany's dad was holding his ground and was like, well, okay, I understand that, but you know, right now I just can't do it. And so they go back inside and Brittany says, so how was it? And Ray doesn't want to rock the boat because earlier he said that he just wanted a nice, smooth day and outing. So Ray told Brittany, you know what? Nothing happened. It was all smooth. It was all good. So Ray kept to his word to himself. He's like, no, you know, like he didn't want to ruin the day. But right after that, I guess Ray's dad had a change of heart. And he said, you know what? I want to say something. So he stands up and says, you know what? I want to give my blessings to you and to Brittany to get married. And I was like, well, how come you had to do all that when you went outside? Like, why did you take time out to say that? I mean, I can understand you having another man-to-man conversation with Ray, you know, about the situation, how you feel about going forward with Brittany. You know, you could have told him like to stay on the straight and narrow and stuff like that. But to say you weren't giving your blessings and then turn around and give your blessing, that was a bit much. So next up is Destiny. We see Destiny walk in, I guess it's at her mom's house, and her mom is holding a baby. So Destiny apparently has had her baby. She tells us that she had her baby 3 weeks early. His name is River. She said she had her 6th C-section. It was a scary process having to go through that, but she made it through. And we also learned that the baby's father, Jason, is back in prison for having a dirty test and being in there for until 2025. Destiny is also saying how she's trying to get her life back on track. Every time she takes 10 steps forward, she takes 20 steps back, but she's in a good place right now. Happy that she's got to bring her baby home. But see, Destiny's mom says she's also happy to help Destiny. She's also happy to, you know, help Destiny with whatever she needs. And even if Jason, whenever he comes home, he can even stay at the house too. Underneath the surface, Destiny's mom was giving us a read between the lines kind of thing. Like, you know, she's trying to keep her in one place, trying to keep her stable because Destiny's used to running those streets. Destiny's mom says she's happy that, you know, Destiny's home. She has this glow about her, a glow that the baby is bringing because she didn't think that she would be able to bring home this baby. Because see, Destiny don't have her other 5 kids, and I think she was trying to say that because Destiny has had like previous run-ins either with the law or maybe with substance herself, that, you know, that this baby being home with her right now was a good thing. So then when we finally see Sean and Sarah, it's time for Sarah to have her baby. They're on the way to the hospital and they're excited. And Sean is even saying that, you know, even though he has as many kids as he has, his words, and Sean, you do have a lot of kids, that he hopes that not just having this baby, that he can incorporate his other kids and, you know, they could be one big family. And then we've seen those shots of him and Gracie at the wedding and how Gracie was crying because they did a gender reveal with the cake and she's not going to be the only girl anymore. And Sean, you know, that is still really heavy on Sean's mind. You know, I think that Sean has maybe hit a place in his life where he knows he's lost valuable time with his children. Sean, you can't get that time back. Only thing you can do is try to mend fences and go forward. So next we see Sean and Sarah. They're actually in the hospital and Sean got his scrubs on. Woo, Sean is nervous. He said, doesn't matter how many kids you have, he's nervous. And then next thing we see Sarah, I guess she's having a C-section as well, but they have a baby girl that they named Adeline. So congratulations to Sean, Sarah, and Destiny on the birth of their new babies. Next up, Kevin and Tiffany. It was really quick scenes with Kevin. He's outside in his yard. He's telling us he hasn't heard from Tiffany in a while. And he says he just don't know what's going on. So while he's saying all that, he gets a text on his phone from Tiffany. She's telling him, listen, don't text me back. Forget this number. And then she sends over the video that Kayla sent to her with Kevin in the shower. He's like, wait a minute, what is this? What is going on? And so I know he read the fact that Tiffany said, don't call me, what does Kevin do? He calls the number. He's like, hey, what is this? Tiffany said, don't talk to me about what this is. Like, you're not even supposed to be talking to me at all, and hangs up. After she hangs up, Kevin's like, you know what? I got to admit that if she did that to me, send me some picture of another dude or whatever the case may be, I would be pissed too, and I wouldn't even talk to her no more. He's like, but you know what? Kayla, she got to stop doing this. She's got to chill out, because he is into Tiffany. He tells us that he's never met anyone like Tiffany before, and he don't know what it is about her, but apparently Tiffany gives him the vibes that he wants to feel versus for Kayla. So then he decides to call Kayla, talk to her about what's going on, and Kayla has no idea that he's seen this video. And she's like, sure, whatever you want. So she's like, as long as you're not messing with that Tiffany. He was like, nah, you know I'm not doing that. So Kevin, maybe he'll confront Kayla, maybe he won't, because every time he tries to confront her, they end up in the bed. Next up, Taylor and Chance. So when we saw Taylor and Chance last week, Chance has asked the doctor for a paternity test and gives his reasons why. He's telling the doctor like, oh, well, I found messages from Taylor and her ex-boyfriend. First of all, you don't got to tell the doctor why you want a paternity test. If you want one, you just ask for it. You don't got to give all the business. He found messages on the phone from Taylor's ex. And apparently him and Taylor's ex were in prison together. And the reason him and Taylor started talking is because that the ex gave him Taylor's number. So that's how they got started talking. Taylor comes back in the room. She goes, hey, what are you guys talking about? And he said, well, I asked for a DNA test. And she's like, for what? He goes, well, because I found those messages on your phone. She goes, I only sent one email, you know? And so Taylor says, so to the doctor, what are the chances that of the DNA test? What's the accuracy? The doctor says 99.9%. She goes, well, I am completely accurate. This is your baby. So she goes, okay, we'll take the test. So they go down the hallway, do the lab work for the test, and that's that. So they'll get the results back in a few weeks or so. So when they leave, they're in the car, and Taylor's pissed, and I would be too. But Chance is like, and he's another manipulator. Chance goes, well, you know what? How can I trust you? He goes, this is the reason why you don't want to be married, because you're talking to your ex, you're sending messages. Taylor said, I sent one email message. How is that cheating? He goes, I don't know what you're doing. She goes, oh, but so you can embarrass me in the doctor's office. She goes, I'm not cheating. He goes, so, but if you're talking to your ex, now I can see why you don't want to get married. And Chance is just going on and on and on and on. And Taylor goes, oh, so now I really am so ready to get married. And you know what? I agree. Like an email, Chance. She's pregnant. You need a DNA test because you found an email. Taylor has a much better head on her shoulders at 27 than he does at 41. Well, anyways, they're back at the house, and they still, really aren't on speaking terms. It seems like it's the same day, or either later in the day or the next day or something like that. So now Bobby's home. She sees a sign from the girls, and she's like, oh my gosh, I didn't expect this. But when she comes in, they show her the garage. I thought Bobby wasn't going to be in the garage no more. Or was it her choice? I'm not sure. So she's like, oh, thank you for straightening up for me. I mean, it had the bed and the bed, the sheets, and there was a curtain and a fan. So I guess, that little section was straightened up, but it's still the garage. Chance takes the girls out for ice cream so Taylor and Bobby can talk. And Bobby says that she's happy to be out, happy to be sober. She's just happy to get her life back on track. And Taylor's saying, so do you think that you had a relapse because of things that were going on with me and Chance? And Bobby said it wasn't that, but there were lots of things had to deal with the relapse. Taylor feels guilty about her sister. Taylor has been carrying a lot of baggage when it comes to her sister. I think she feels very protective of the things that Bobby is doing or not doing, whether it be positive or negative, for some reason. I think a lot of it stems with that relationship with the sisters and the dad, because that was tumultuous, when we saw the dad and the stepmom. But we also learned that Bobby said that, she's only going to be staying a few days, and then she can go out to Arizona to get her life back on track. And Taylor is really surprised at that. And then Taylor says that she's pregnant, and Bobby's like, oh, that's good. But Taylor says that she really wanted to be different this time because Bobby wasn't around when she had her other children, and she was really hoping she would be there for this baby, you know, being clean and everything. And that, you know, when she got herself together, that maybe she could like live 5 minutes away and not like 3 days away. And Bobby was like, no, this is what I need for me, because things in Missouri aren't good for her. So she figures going to Arizona where no one knows her, she'll start fresh. In confessional, Taylor says that, you know, Bobby feels like she's getting away for a fresh start when she's trying to run from her addiction, but her addiction is not going to do anything but follow her. So last but not least, Brittany and Marcelino. Brittany's at home. She's taking the batteries out the wireless camera. She's just going around the house, just snatching stuff off the wall, the cameras and all the other cameras that's hanging up and all that stuff. Well, talk about Marcelino cheating on her. Then she goes in the house and the mom is there with the kids. Now the mama must say, you know, she was looking better than she was looking, because she used to be on some substances herself, so she looked like she's put on a little bit weight and looks like she's getting herself healthier, I guess. She's looking much better than, like I said, than she used to. Brittany tells her mom that she's found emails from Amanda, that Marcelino's been on these adult websites and he's made Google accounts and different Instagrams. She says he's had 1,000 times to tell me, you know, or just be honest with me. And this is what he does. She goes, you know what? I'm not the one that's going to have to leave and find a place to live. She goes, that's on him. He's the one that's going to have to move out. And mom's like, said, you know what? You don't have to. And then the mom says, you know what? She hasn't had the best relationship with Marcelino, but this cheating stuff, this takes the cake. She's like, she never saw this coming. So then the mom takes the kids out for the day so that when Marcelino does come home, like they don't have to hear, you know, the back and forth. But then when we see Marcelino, he's in his truck driving back home. He's talking about karma. He's talking about karma is a bitch. And Amanda's going to get hers. I'm thinking Amanda is going to get hers. How come you're not going to get yours? I mean, it takes two to tango. I mean, Marcelino just talked about how, you know, things was ruined because, you know, if you remember, you know, he always said no to having a threesome, but he gave in. And even though Brittany likes girls, and so he gonna have something on the side, but Brittany wants to control the situation because she wants to know, you know, if he's doing something. To me, in my opinion only, that's an open marriage. So, but I can see where Brittany's coming from, but at the same time, you kind of brought it on yourself. But he's just like venting and driving, just like, you know, he's put his life on hold to be at home so that Brittany can pursue her career while he's taking care of the kids. I guess he's not doing poker as much as he used to do. And just so that she could do what she needs to do. And, you know, he feels like he's not being valued in the relationship. And Brittany also says that, you know, she doesn't feel like she's being valued either. So then Brittany calls and he finally answers the call. And Brittany's talking about, you know, where have you been? You haven't been home. I gave you 1,000 chances to be upfront with me. I found these emails. I found you on these websites. Just everything that we learned about Marcelino. Marcelino, boop, hangs up. I was like, wow. But I'm not surprised at that. And then we see after all that, Marcelino pulls up to the house and then it goes off. Oh my gosh, we have to wait till next week, the finale, to find out what goes on. So the finale looks like a mess. We see a little bit of it, a little snippet. We see Brittany and Marcelino. We see Brittany throwing clothes over the stairs and Marcelino telling him, you could get out of my house. We see Destiny on Sean's phone where she's FaceTiming him, and Sarah looks at the phone. She goes, and Destiny says, hi, I'm Destiny. And then we have Lindsay pulling up to Deontay's mama house. I cannot wait till the finale. Hopefully we also get to see Brittany and Ray's wedding as well. So, woo! Until next week, everybody. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget about the membership in the description box below. Thank you all again for watching. And as always, live simply, be grateful.